Hi kids, Chris Godinez, licensed professional counselor, also the host of We Need to Talk on every Sunday, usually, not this week, at noon. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. If you feel you need a therapist, please go to Google, type in therapy, your city, psychology today will pop up, click on that, and we'll have all the therapists in your area that are qualified. Also, the views and opinions stated herein are mine and mine alone. They do not represent the ACA, the APA, or any other goddamn therapist for that matter. Boom, shakalaka, done. Okay, so John sent me the questions over, and I figured I am just going to go ahead and answer them now because I'm going to jump in the shower in a little bit. So I figured, well, now's good. Okay, so the first question was, besides cognitive dissonance, how do you know that you're being abused or that you've been abused? You will have PTSD. So let me just run down the criteria for PTSD. Post-traumatic stress disorder, post, after the fact, traumatic horrible event, stress, anxiety, disorder, not coping with it well. All right, and we have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, CPTSD, because it happens over and over and over and over and over and over and over. It's the same shit, different day. All right, so direct exposure to trauma. So we've either witnessed trauma, been the target of trauma, we've seen somebody else be the target of trauma. We are aversive to talking about it or seeing it again. We get triggered really easily. Unwanted, upsetting memories, nightmares, flashbacks, emotional distress after exposure to triggers, physical reactivity after exposure to triggers, trauma-related thoughts or feelings. So, you can have suicidal ideation, you can have, that type of thing. Trauma-related external reminders, triggers. Inability to recall key features of the trauma. So oftentimes kids who have been sexually molested do not remember their childhood, or if they've been severely beaten or things like that, or severely mentally abused, they don't remember their childhood. They just don't. So when anybody tells me they can't remember their childhood, I'm like, ding, 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 warning, 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 there's something going on. So, overly negative thoughts and assumptions about oneself or the world, very low self-esteem, exaggerated blame of self or others causing the trauma, usually self. Usually targets of abuse blame themselves. What did I do? What did I say? How come daddy or mommy doesn't love me? Why did I get beaten? It's my fault. I should have been better. No, I'm sorry. Adults should never beat their children. What the fuck? Negative effect. So everything's negative. No gratitude, no happiness, no joy. Decreased interest in activities, depression, hello, feeling isolated, difficulty experiencing positivity, feeling guilty if you feel good, irritability or aggression. People who have been abused, when we come out of it, it's like we're pissed all the damn time. So yeah, irritability or aggression inappropriately, risky or destructive behavior. So low self-esteem because we're doing things to harm ourselves. Hypervigilance, always on the outlook. Where's the danger? Where's the danger? Where's the danger? That kind of thing. Heightened startle response. So especially if you've been physically abused, you will have a heightened startle response. If somebody raises their hand, you're like jumping. So, excuse me, difficulty concentrating, difficulty sleeping, eating issues, etc. Symptoms last for more than a month. Social dysfunction, occupational dysfunction or impairment. Okay, and dissociation can be a part of it as well. So you're being abused if you don't feel good about yourself. If somebody is saying horrible things about you, remember the abusers are going to say, oh, I'm not abusing you. And they'll say that in the middle of hitting you or putting you down or harming you or whatever, because they are, say it with me, assholes. So yeah, they will tell you as they are abusing you, you're not being abused. You're not being abused. You're not being abused. And that's a load of shit. All right. So the emotional signs are avoidance. We avoid. We avoid triggers that will, remind us of the abuse. We tend to isolate ourselves. We are afraid of social interactions, usually. We act out. We'll act out our abuse, that kind of thing. So yeah, and cognitive dissonance, that's the big one. If there's cognitive dissonance going on and you've got PTSD and all these other symptoms, yeah, you've been abused. So get with a good therapist, get with a good trauma therapist. You might try EMDR, CBT is good, DBT is good, any of those are good. So do work on that. Self-esteem. The best way to give the middle finger to these fuckers is to work on your self-esteem and not allow anybody to abuse you ever again because you know your own worth. Okay, question 2. Please give examples for a narc or toxic person who got his karma. Do you believe in karma? I do, but here's the deal, guys. If you're really Buddhist, you understand that karma does not always happen in this lifetime. It does not. Sometimes it happens. Yes, God bless the comedians. Sometimes, because my phone pops up things. Anyway, sorry. Low sleep, lots of caffeine. Karma does not always happen in our lifetime. And karma is not always what we think it is. So my suggestion to you would be, let it go. I know we want revenge, guys. I know that little kid inside of us is like, this isn't fair. How dare they? How come they get to go off and have this great life and blah, 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 and I'm miserable and da, da, da. Okay, guys, stop. It's no longer about them, whether they get their karma or not. And have I seen it happen? Yeah, I have. So, you die alone in a hospital with nobody on a toilet. That's karma. That was my dad. So, he had a heart condition. Here's the karma. So my dad had a heart condition. He had a bad heart and he got the flu. So he went into the hospital, and before he went into the hospital, he called both me and my sister, and he said this incredibly racist, inappropriate, sexualized joke, and it wasn't funny. And I had just learned over the years to just be like, oh, I can see how you think that's funny, Dad, and leave it alone, because I'm not going to change him. He's not going to change. It's not like he's suddenly going to get hit with the enlightenment stick, ding, and figure it the fuck out. So I just kind of went, okay, Dad, I can see how you think that's funny. And I left it, right? So our conversation went on, and he said, I love you, honey. And I said, I love you too. That was the last thing I said to him. And thank you, Jesus, Buddha, Bufa Baba, whoever, that was the last thing I said to him, because he did the same phone call with my sister, my middle sister, and she hung up on him. She got pissed at him, she raged at him, and she hung up on him. And so he died like 3 days later. So guess which one of us was more okay with his death? It would be me. Than she was, because she hung up on him, right? So guilt, hello. But the karma is that he was in the hospital and he had the flu, and he went to go use the toilet. He took off all of his, monitors and everything. And of course it was a little local rink-dink hospital. And he went to the toilet and he sat on the toilet and he strained and had thrombosis and died alone on a toilet, taking a shit. That's karma. And karma is not what everybody thinks it is. It's not like God comes down like Thor with the hammer and, knocks people on the head, although that would be pretty freaking awesome. But, and you got to let it go. The thing of it is that detachment. It's like they are who they are. They're assholes. You don't need to do anything, and you wish them well. You do. It's like, hey, good luck with that, because sometime, maybe this lifetime, maybe the next lifetime, it's going to come back to you. It is. And one of my dad's worst fears was dying alone. So what did he do? He died alone on a toilet, taking a shit. There you go. So, okay, there's that. And if you read my book, What's Wrong with Your Dad, I talk about that in there. And that's available on Amazon, or you can buy it autographed through mercury.com/shop. Okay, so yeah, I do believe in karma. I do believe that when we die, and of course, this is just my personal belief, guys. You don't have to believe this. I used to be a Baptist, hardcore evangelical Baptist. No, thank you. So now I'm Buddhist, and I'm still Christian, but I have the Buddhist philosophy, I guess is the best way to put it. And it's detachment. It's like, I cannot fix them. It is beyond my means. And to wish for revenge is like picking up 2 hot coals, intending to throw them at the other person, but the only person that gets burned is you. That's it. Because revenge is a fool's game. It is. Because then it keeps you attached to them. It keeps that karma going. It keeps that energy flow going back and forth between the abuser and you. Cut those cords. Be done. Wish them well. And here's the funny thing. When I say I wish somebody well, what I mean is I hope to God you figure it the fuck out, because it's not going to be pretty. So do you see where I'm going with that? So you wish them well. It's like, I wish you healing. I wish you enlightenment. That's the worst thing you could wish for a narcissist, because think about it. They then have to, according to whatever belief system you have, whether it's Judeo-Christian and they go to heaven and are confronted with all of their sins and judged, or they go and they review their lives, and pick their next lifetime as to what they need to learn or make amends for. So, it's all very similar. Isn't that weird how all of the religions are very similar? Anyway, So yeah, let it go. It's not your job. You're not God. You're not God. Well, God is within you, but you're not, God. So let it go. It's not your job to judge. It's your job to heal. It's your job to heal, and it's your job to make sure that the abuse stops here and now and doesn't continue on through the next generation. Please tell me. Oh, no, thank you. I think that was the maid. All right. Where was I? Okay. Wow. Okay. It's not our job to judge. It's not. It's our job to let go. It's our job to let go. It's our job to detach. It's our job. And it's not about forgiveness, guys. It's not about forgiveness. Forgiveness is about ourselves. It's not about the other person. We forgive ourselves for not knowing what we didn't know when we didn't know it. Does that make sense? So yeah, it's like, the forgiveness is not about them. You wish them well, you wish them enlightenment, and you wish them gone. So that's that. All right. Yes, I believe in karma. But it doesn't happen always in our lifetime. It does not. It does not. So you got to let go of that need for revenge. You do, because all you're going to do is sit there and stew. So what? Doesn't matter what they're doing. It matters what you're doing. What are you doing? How are you improving your life? Live the best life possible. That's how to piss them off. Have good self-esteem, not give another thought about them. All right. Therapist says if I have a fawn response, this is another personality. If I freeze another personality, I decide to feel gratitude, another personality, my physical illness too. Is that okay? I cannot speak to that. I do not know if you have DID. So you might want to ask for clarification, and I would look up dissociative identity disorder on the DSM-5, Diagnostic Manual 5, and see if any of those criteria match you, because that doesn't sound like a correct diagnosis. But again, I'm not your therapist. I don't know what they're seeing. So I would definitely do some research on your own and see if that matches. If not, then get a different therapist. So, all right. There is that. How can I find my inner child issue? I keep going back in my past, but I don't see actual reason for me to be that codependent and to feel like I don't belong anywhere. Get with a good therapist. Get with a good therapist. What are you missing? There's got to be something. So we don't just pop out of the womb codependent. We don't. It's not like we want to pop out of the womb and go, I need to give my all for somebody who doesn't give a fuck. We don't do that. So there's something going on. So I would strongly suggest get with a good therapist and start working it through. Let's figure it out. Something's going on. Self-esteem is huge. Work on self-esteem. Get the self-esteem workbook by Glenn Schiraldi. Get the Disease to Please by Harriet Breaker. Get the Inner Child workbook by Catherine Taylor, and get with a good therapist, and let's see what's missing. Okay. How to know if someone is a covert narc if it doesn't always fit the checkbox written criteria. How can we discover the truth behind the sweet lies? Well, if they're lying, there's something going on. Okay. Healthy, normal people do not lie. People with integrity do not lie. Okay. They don't. And the favorite lie of the abuser is everyone lies. Everyone lies. Well, now, okay, you could do a white lie, like, your partner comes up and says, hey, do these jeans make me look fat? You are going to say, well, I like the other jeans better. Okay. That's what you're going to say to save their feelings. But, you're not going to lie. And narcissist abusers lie all the time. And they say that everybody lies. And that's their justification for them lying, cheating, and stealing. So there is that. So yeah, if somebody is lying and they're not, the thing of it is that words and actions have to match. Words and actions have to match. If they do not, there is no integrity. So there it is. All right. Oh dear. Okay. Hi, Chris. Thank you for answering my question last week on phobias. Could you please mention on phobias on sex and fears of emotion after narc abuse relationship? Apologies, I wasn't clear. Okay, because I was like, wait a minute, what? Okay, so when we come out of an abusive relationship, they very often have got some weird sexual peccadillos. And, okay, you know what? I'm going to have to cut this short. Fudge. I'm going to cut this short, so it's going to be a two-parter because I have to check into my flight in a little bit. Okay, so we often have sexual phobias, weirdness about sex, especially if our abusive partner was into kinky stuff or abusive stuff or, and I don't mean kinky stuff like fun kinky stuff. I mean like not healthy kinky stuff that, weirdness. And they're forcing you to do things that you would not otherwise do. So a lot of times what abusers will do is they'll get their partners to be involved in menage a trois, they'll film it, and then they use it as blackmail later on. Or they'll get them to do a sexual act that they would not otherwise do. And then, the idea of sex then becomes very frightening because, they do weird things. So that's normal, actually, guys. That is actually normal to have a fear of sex. So, after coming out of an abusive relationship, that is something that you may want to go to a therapist for and really work on so that you can get back to enjoying your sexual life again. Because, abusers ruin everything that's enjoyable. They do, the bastards and the bastardettes. So, absolutely. Okay, let's see if I can do this because I got a few minutes. My therapist doesn't want to know about the things that make me happy or good experiences or good experience with people, only the bad. I am suicidal and he makes me write my epitaph. Is that okay? If you're not getting anything out of that therapy, if you don't feel like you're improving, and if you're not allowed to speak about good stuff, you may want to consider getting a different therapist. So, just, trust your gut. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Is this person helping or not? If they're not, definitely not. Any advice for someone stuck with narcissistic parents in the Middle fucking East? Oh, God, I don't know enough about the Middle East, and I do know that men and women are treated differently. That's about as much as I know. I'm sorry. I don't know what the age of consent is there either. In the U.S., I believe it's 18 to get out. In some states, it's younger. You can declare yourself an emancipated minor. But I don't know what to tell you. If you're stuck with narcissistic parents, work on your self-esteem. Work on your self-esteem, work on your self-esteem, work on your self-esteem. That is the best thing you can do, is to know who you are so that they don't undermine who you are. I'm sorry, hon, I don't have a better answer than that. Work on your self-esteem. That's the best thing you can do. Boundaries, and then work on finding a way to get independent as soon as possible. Good. Last question. Okay. What happens if one attempted suicide once and now the narcissistic parents using this as a way to even abuse more? Okay. Got it. Saying this kid is mentally ill. Why do they do this even if the kid is overage? Because they want to infantilize us. They want us to be one down. They don't want us to be healthy, happy, and whole. They like it when we are not doing well. That, in fact, a lot of these narcissistic parents really enjoy only hearing the bad stuff, kind of like that therapist you were talking about earlier. So it's a way for them to, put the thumb down on the person and make you less than. Look, at some point in time, almost everybody who's been abused has had either suicidal ideation or has attempted it. So, you're not alone. I think I've talked about in my last video how when I was 16, I thought about killing myself, seriously. And the thing that saved me was, Terry Jones and Monty Python. So, it's a way to put you down and make you less than. So don't believe it. Work on your self-esteem. You're not alone. A lot of us have had suicidal ideation when we've been in an abusive situation. Don't do it, because then they win. Don't let them win. So there is that. All right, kids, that is it. Those are all the questions. I am going to post this. Have a great day, and I will see you at 2:00 in Houston. See ya.